So, good afternoon, everyone. It's Kat Grips here from the Business Success Society. And this afternoon, we're just going to take a wee short look at Wufoo forms. I've no idea whether that's even how you pronounce it, but anyway, that's how I'm pronouncing it now. So, if you want to create, as it says here, build and share online forms, and collect data. And it says here payments. We're not going to go into that level of detail, and I only have the free account for the time being. So this short video will just look at what you can do, some of the things you can do with the free account rather than anything more complex. If you do want to pay for it and upgrade, then the pricing's there on the pricing page. Otherwise, we'll just carry on. I do love the fact that when you hover over the login, it says roar. I have no idea why, but it makes me laugh anyway. So here we go. So into Wufoo Forms, and you just sign up in the usual manner. It doesn't take any credit card details or anything. It just simply lets you get started. And you'll see I'm on the current plan, which is free, which allows me to have one user and up to 3 forms at any one time. And what I found when I've used it in the past, because I have actually used this with Zapier or Zapier, however you want to pronounce it, to integrate with CRM, so that you can create a form on here and then suck the details into a CRM. That generally 3 at any one time is enough, one to be in use, one for a demo, and one that I've done for a client here, which we can take a look at later. You'll also see that there is a limit on the number of entries. So if you're doing something that was going to take you over 100 actual responses, then you'd also have to upgrade for that reason. Now, this was prompted by somebody asking me how they could collect data at a show. And this is something that, as I say, this home show inquiry was built for a client. They wanted to go to a home show and they wanted to collect some information while they were there. And they thought it would be quite nice if they could sit down with a tablet and talk to a prospective customer at the actual show. I'll just open this one up so you can have a look at it. And then we'll look at actually building one. So they could capture things like their name, their email address, their phone number, etc. And you can see all of that down there. Now, you'll see that this is all branded Wufoo. With the paid version, I think you can put your own logo and images and things on. You know, for the purposes of just collecting data at something like that, at a show, that's probably absolutely fine. Other people have obviously thought about, you know, actually asking the prospective customer to fill it in themselves. You probably then, this was, as you can see, more of a sort of a consulting. There'll be lots of questions around quite a lot of these points here. If you just wanted to collect a name and an email address, then you could potentially just hand them the device and get them to do it themselves. Unfortunately, I think the person who asked me at the weekend, they were going to be outdoors. So you've either got to have a good 4G signal and lots of data, although probably not tons of data, or Wi-Fi for this to work, because once you've clicked OK on this, then it will, just going to mute if I can do that. Once you've actually, let me just see who's there, so mute. Okay, just keeping everybody muted just now. I'll take questions later on. Yeah, once you've actually clicked submit or whatever at the bottom here, then what it does is it puts the data online into the cloud immediately. From a GDPR point of view, I mean, as long as you have got a privacy policy and you explain what you're doing with the data and you keep it secure, then obviously it's going to be secure online or as secure as any other medium, and probably much more secure and more GDPR compliant than having a sheet of paper where people can sign their own information. And I've actually been in a shop where, you know, I could see everybody else's details above me, and that's definitely not GDPR compliant. And bear in mind that these sorts of things are kind of publicly open, and you could well be collecting personal email addresses rather than business email addresses. So that's one of the forms there, and that's here. If I just go into it here, then this looks a bit scary, but it's actually quite easy to do. So what we'll probably do is we'll just try and build a very simple one here. So let's go back here. Okay, I've got over here create a new form. Now let me do one more. And there are templates, some of which are only available in the premium version, like all these things. But let's just build one from scratch here. So I want to build my form from scratch. Now, and I don't think this is the prettiest thing I've ever seen, but it's perfectly functional. So it does exactly what it needs to do. So let's just have a look at all the bits and pieces here. Here is where we're actually building our form on the right hand side. So if I just want to give it a name, if I click on the green area here where it says untitled form, I can now put the name of my form in this form title box here, and it gets shown over on the right hand side. And then you can put a description underneath. So if you were going to put a link to this for other people to fill in, so we'll see at the end, but you can, you could take a link and put it out in an email, or you can embed code in your website, whatever you want to do. But if you want to give instructions to people, then this is where you can put it. So I could change that if I want to, but I'll just leave it because I quite like it. And you know what it's like when you're typing, trying to type sentences when people are watching, it's always painful. So let's not bother trying to do that. So it's now saying that's my title, and there's my description for it. And now what I probably want to do, just going through some of these things, generally you wouldn't really need to do the rest of these things. I'm just going to make sure everything's muted. Oh, there we go. Generally, you wouldn't necessarily need to change any of these things. Down the bottom here, you can have an option just to show, great, thanks for filling out my form, or redirect to the website. So you'll see that's got a red star. So I can't do that unless I upgrade, and I can't customize the confirmation message. But all cool. That's probably good enough for the time being. And if I want to, I can send the confirmation email to the user as well. Okay, here's the CAPTCHA stuff. I'm really just not I'm not a fan of CAPTCHA. I think obviously if you're having a huge amount of issues with bots and people filling in forms, maybe, but I know that I sat with a client. I can't remember what we're trying to do, and endless CAPTCHA things came up, wanting me to click all the traffic lights and click all the motorbikes and click goodness knows what else, and it was really quite painful. So and there's a lot of evidence to suggest that it's not really great from an accessibility point of view. So I tend to try and avoid it if I possibly can. Here you can see you want to limit it, say, to 50 entries or whatever, and then other bits and pieces about only allowing one entry per user, as it were, per IP address. So that's kind of the properties of the form itself. Now if I want to add a field, then I could pop into this add a field thing, and you'll see here there are all sorts of options here, the standard things and the, as they say it, the fancy pants options. So if I click on name, then it just comes across here as first name and last name, and that's how it does it. It doesn't do it as a single field, so you will get a column in your spreadsheet for first name and a column for last name, and then you can see all the other fields that I might like to capture here. So if I want their phone number, then I can ask for their phone number. Now, I thought I had changed the settings, so it wasn't US, but clearly I haven't. I'm not going to change it now, but clearly you can change it so that it's not US settings. There we go. That's actually not going to be too hard. There we go. So that's fine. So that's in the field settings option there. If I want to, I can duplicate that, and create a mobile phone number. So create another one, and in the field settings, put mobile phone. Do a little bit of typing. Okay, and that's fine. Back there. And then I can do all sorts of other things. So I can add a checkbox, and then I can apply choices to that. So I might say I want breakfast, lunch, and dinner as options. Which ones do they want? Oops. Which ones do they want? Etc. And then you can say whether this is a required one. So you might want their name to be required. Let's put their name as a required field, and their food options to be, but you don't want any of the others. And then you can add other fields as you like. I'm just going to save that form just now. And once I've saved it, then I've got various options. So I can do all of these things with it. So I could share it. So I can create a web link, which, as I say, I could then send out in an email. I can embed it in my website. I can share to Facebook, Twitter, WordPress, or various APIs for different systems. I can go back to editing. I can set up email notifications for this form. I'm just going to pop into that one. So if I want to, then I can get it to email me, and I can set a reply, and I can save that. Or I could get it to send me a text, which I think would possibly be a bit too much like hard work if I got a text every time somebody filled in a form. So here's my new form. I can go back here and edit it, and go back and make any changes I want to. I can create sections, I can create page breaks. So if you've got a particularly long form, you might want to just have it showing in sections. If you've done surveys and things like SurveyMonkey, then you'll know that you sort of fill in a page and then you click to go to the next page and that kind of thing. Let's just view that form then. So there you go, here's my new form. This is my form, please fill it out, it's awesome. And then here's all my options here and my options for there. So I could have changed I could have and should have and will change the label on that. So check out, please give meal options, click, we'll check all required. That's probably a bit better, isn't it? And save the form. If I do want to share the form, if I click on this option, then I come into here. So there's my link. You'll see there's all the other bits and pieces that you could share on. It still seems to think that Google Plus is a thing. I'm not sure that Google Plus is still a thing, but anyway, and if there's the code, if you actually wanted to embed it on your website. So if I just want to copy the link, so I can copy the link, and then I could go away and send an email and paste that link in and just send it to somebody and say, please enter your details in here for me, which I'm just going to, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to pretend I'm now somebody who's received the link. Okay, so I've received my email, and this would obviously be something more useful to them. And I've clicked on the link and I've come to here. So I'm going to put Fiona Smith and 01786. And put my details in, and I just want breakfast and dinner. I don't want lunch, and I submit. thinking about that, and there you go. And the usual kind of thing, it takes you back to a point where it says, oh, would you like to do one of these forms, Mr. Person who's filled in a form? And there it is. But what I really wanted to do is just kind of go back here and actually let's see the responses. So forms, there we go. Find the responses. So you'll see also here that now I'm on my third form, and the last time we came in here it did this, but I didn't talk about it. Because I've now entered my third form out of 3, I've now got a warning triangle to say if I want to create any new forms, I'm going to have to upgrade. So I'm just going to take that out there. So my new form, and then if I go in here to view entries, then I can see here Fiona Smith's entry in there, and I can download that as well if I want to. So if I wanted to put that into Excel, then I could download that into Excel quite readily. So, and if I want to view the entry, there it is. So that's a great whistle-stop tour of, there's the download button there, download entry. That's a quick whistle-stop tour of Wufoo forms, how to create them. What I'm going to do now is I'll just switch off the recording, and then I can save that for other people later, but that then means I can open up the lines for anybody who's got any questions. So